I'm guessing by now all of you have seen the newest cinematic, and I gotta say, thus far in the Shadowlands, it is the most confusing out of all of them. Apparently, Elune allowed Teldrassil to burn in order for the souls to be sent to her sister, the Winter Queen, yet at the same time she was completely unaware that it would just go into the maw itself, helping the jailer. Now, let's try to untangle this mess and analyze what exactly is going on here. Did Elune really help burn down Teldrassil, or did she merely ferry the souls into a different realm than they were supposed to go to? What is going on? Right off the bat, I gotta say that this storyline is in all reality confusing, and definitely they can go multiple routes from this point. Some things are implied, but we can definitely draw quite different conclusions. Quick backstory: if you remember, Sylvanas essentially burned down Teldrassil from our current knowledge at the jailer's orders, as the machine of death was broken so that all these souls could be sent into the maw. This crazy influx of anima significantly empowered Zoal, which allowed him to start breaking free and do what he did. His power was really like a snowball, and Sylvanas really helped get that ball rolling by burning down Teldrassil. Well, fast forward to 9.1 and we learned that Elune is the sister of the Winter Queen of Ardenweald, and it is heavily implied that Elune is in fact a life titan of the pantheon of life. The two sisters seem long disconnected, one leading life, the other death. Now, due to the machine of death being broken and everyone going straight into the maw, there has been a massive drought going on with the entirety of the Shadowlands. In Ardenweald, it was particularly bad because the entire realm is one cycle where they return souls, so in order to keep the realm going, they had to start sacrificing their own grows and their own anima, as nothing was really coming in. So another fast forward to the most recent events: Sylvanas attacks Ardenweald, Tyrande attacks and nearly gets her, but Elune denies her power from what it seems like now in order to save her life. Then Elune finally communicates with her sister to Tyrande in this cinematic, and she gives away some critical information. The Winter Queen is really pissed off that Elune even dares to show up here, as she has been going through hell for years, yet her sister didn't even lift a finger to help. However, Elune tells her that she didn't need help, and then the entire mood changes. This is where it gets really confusing. So Elune says that she did hear the cries of the Winter Queen, and in order to help, she sent forth a cascade of souls to sustain Ardenweald. Then, Winter Queen tells her that all who perished there were sent into the maw, and Elune is visibly shocked as she just had no idea. Now, this is just so incredibly confusing. Right off the bat, this seems like a really stupid plan. Not only did Elune not help sustain Ardenweald, but she essentially empowered the jailer even further by sending the souls into the maw, making the drought even worse. So not only did she not help the Winter Queen, but she made things even worse for her. However, the real question is, what the hell does this even mean? How did Elune send forth a cascade of souls? Does that actually imply that she aided Sylvanas and helped her burn down Teldrassil? Does that mean that she purposefully didn't help the Night Elves even though she could? Or that she only just directed souls into Ardenweald? Honestly, so far with the current info I've gathered, my thoughts are that the latter is the most likely. I highly doubt it was the case that Elune worked with Sylvanas in order to burn down Teldrassil. However, I think it is definitely possible that she might have been able to stop her, yet she just didn't. As we know, the Machine of Death broke around Legion, and just after Legion, Sylvanas did a famous attack, which is when I'm guessing Elune heard the cries of her sister. She didn't really know how she could help, so she just saw the perfect opportunity here. Another critical point to make some sense out of this mess is that the Night Elf death is really confusing as a concept, and we just have no idea what does it even mean. As far as we know, many Night Elven spirits after they die join Azeroth's nature and they turn into wisps, continuing to sustain Azeroth. As Elune is a titan of life, I'd say they work for her in this manner, pretty much how dead souls in Ardenweald work for her sister. So I think the most likely scenario here is that Elune, instead of having these souls empower the nature of Azeroth, instead she decided to send them directly into her sister's realms, which she didn't really see this as bad because, as you might remember, Ardenweald is connected to nature of life, and generally souls can regenerate there and return back to life. So I'm guessing she saw the scenario as in, instead of being wisps immediately, I'll just send you guys to Ardenweald the long route, but eventually you will return and then you can help out in a way, at least you can do something for me. Now, this in itself is fine, but the question here is, as the protector of the Night Elves, wasn't she actually, supposed to help them in their most dire times of need? I'm guessing Elune is powerful enough to defeat the Horde army, as we had seen her do that later on in Darkshore with the Night Warrior. So, by denying to help them, you can definitely say that she's evil, at least in a way. Now, an argument here is that it was a complete surprise attack, so when the Night Elves got Elune's attention, it was already too late to do anything. I gotta say, this makes sense quite a bit. So, Elune realizes, oh well, might as well help out Ardenweald since we can't save them. However, the real question is, what kind of a goddess is Elune? She just learned that the Machine of Death broke like months after we as mortals did. Bonsandi obviously knew even back in BFA, but the argument here can make some sense. Bonsandi is a Law of Death, so he's connected to Ardenweald, while Elune is a Titan of Life. Also, it seems like her contact with her sister is incredibly limited and she just learned about this, and I'm guessing she only knew about the drought through the cry for help from the Winter Queen. However, I gotta say, it is definitely a bit weird for a goddess that has all this power across the universe and seems to be on the other side of death, that she had like no idea what is going on. Now, I am aware that Blizzard is heavily inspired by real-world mythology, where usually life and death gods are only aware and in charge of their own realms, but I gotta say I'm really shocked that Elune couldn't figure it out for so long that something was going on. Now, the final question, and a completely legitimate one, is what the hell is even the point of the Night Warrior? She granted it to Tyrande, denied her power when she actually needed it, and now she's talking about how she can't choose revenge and instead she should just choose renewal. I mean, that is quite rich coming from Elune that, abandoned all these people and got them into this situation. I gotta say, this argument people have been saying is definitely true, but I wouldn't say the Night form is just completely useless. She did help Tyrande essentially beat back the Horde at Darkshore, and she ultimately helped her survive even in the deaths of them all. I think the argument that makes the most amount of sense is that Elune didn't exactly give the Night Warrior to Tyrande, but it is more like that Tyrande demanded the form, and Elune didn't really have much of a choice. It really seems like the Night Warrior is like a deal with a devil type contract, as everyone that did it died. So it's like you can get crazy power, but you're going to end up dead in the end. Elune knew this, so she looked out for Tyrande and decided to just pull back the power because she just cares so much about her. I gotta say, this point to me makes the most amount of sense. So what is going on with Elune? Well, just like everything in the Shadowlands thus far, we have a bit of a hint, but we actually have like no idea. They can definitely go the route of Elune is evil, or not really evil, but the mortals are not really that big of a deal for her. This can then lead into what Sylvanas was saying, how we're all essentially pawns and just figures on a chessboard. So how the Winter Queen plays with the Fallen, Elune does with the living, and they essentially just, trade their spirits as chips, which can definitely be a good argument on why we should break this first one mechanism and get our ultimate free will back. On the other hand, it could be the other explanation I had just given, how she couldn't really help or was not able to help at that moment, and instead she just wanted to at least make their sacrifice useful by ferrying their souls to Ardenweald, but due to her lack of knowledge, she goofed and made a huge mistake. Thank you for watching. Check out the Shadowlands lore bed by clicking on the screen, and also check out Doran's Academy for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.